GJRB Online FM 88.9 KGR.
And we're back on the air here on Way Out There on GJRB Online, and this is our last 45 minutes of our show as we wrap up this edition of Way Out There. So we're going to stay on the last full 45 minutes of the show. So a little after 5 o'clock, we'll be going off the air, a little bit about 10 after or so. So we'll just stay on the air until the end here as we conclude our Way Out There show on GJRB Online. We've got a few things we want to do yet, so we're going to kind of make this our wrap-up 45 minutes and still your chance to get in there and talk about that. Were you one of those as a little kid, remember ever seeing that Santa Claus? Remember ever swearing you saw Santa Claus? Putting presents down underneath the tree or putting stuff in stockings and that. Remember that? It's kind of that, you little kid, you think you saw him kind of thing. And, you might have been up in the night going to the bathroom or something. Maybe perhaps you went downstairs if you got a 2-story house and you happen to go downstairs and, ooh, there's Santa Claus and he's filling his package, are you one of those that on Christmas Eve you look out or you manage to want to force yourself to look at the sky to see if there's 8 tiny reindeer pulling a sleigh? Your thoughts on that? Comments. That's our questions of the day here on Way Out There. So we'll see if there's any responses to that. I am on Twitter right now, and I'm going to kind of pull this show along here. Right now I'm looking at our GJRB Online Final part right here on Twitter, and when you click that icon, it'll fold in to a player, and there GJRB Online Final part right here on Twitter, and when you click that icon, that'll take you to that show. Okay, so in other words, you can listen to the show right here on Twitter live, get a chance to listen to it live on Twitter, and then there's a place where you can click there, and that balloon icon will take you right to our chat room, so you can leave your responses there. Or if you are listening and you want to call in, it's Gary.Russin on Skype, and call in via Skype. If you have Skype, you can do that, and that's Gary.Russin. Or you just, if you're a follower, you have a direct line to me on Facebook. Direct line. And you can get on the air with me that way by calling me on the messenger side of Facebook. So you can do that as well. And you can participate in the show. This is our last show before Christmas, and then Way Out There will be taking a hiatus. We'll be back on the air in January with a fresh show on that third week, and I'll be working on some additional shows for spontaneous broadcasts. So we'll have more of these Way Out There shows. I'm working right now on trying to get guests lined up for a near-death experience show coming up. So if you are listening to this broadcast and you've experienced a near-death experience, well, I would love to hear from you. Gary.Russin or you can leave me a message in my chat room on Spreaker, and I'll recover it, get back to you. And if you want to be on the air and talk about that, I'll leave a message with a story on that, and I'll read it on the air. Either way, we'll leave. You have a chance to share your story with us here on GJRB Online, and we'll see what happens. See, maybe perhaps we can get some listeners here somewhere, and maybe. So I'm going to go ahead now. I want to do something real quick. I'm going to get on my I want to get on my other site now. I'm going to go into Google Plus and put it there as well. But now they do not have the link no more on the Spreaker. They don't have the link no more, so I'm doing it here from the DJ console on Spreaker itself. I'm just gonna go and post there and do it that way. Let's see. Who will that? Okay, live on the air, and let's see. Now with Way Out There until about 5:10 p.m. Okay, and around there, 5:15, whatever, 5:15, 5:10, or whatever. So if you want to get in on it, you can. Just say so. Still time to talk. Still time to get your 2 cents worth in and on what you think. And also going to go over to my other sites here. I'm going to go to my Spreaker public site here real quick. I'm going to go over there and get on that and spread this show about and various the last few parts. We already had one listener so far on our final part. So if that listener's still there, can put their comments in. What do you think about that now? Do you think that it looks like my last Way Out There show was in a private mode? I'm going to have to unlock that one. I don't know why that got in there. And the other couple of them are like that too. I'm going to have to make those public real quick. I'm going to have to go in there and let's see, we're going to do that real quick here. For some reason, 2 of my shows are on the private side. So I'm going to publicize those. Wonder why that was. I don't remember leaving it on public. So I'm going to hit the public button on those and save it. Okay, and I'm going to go into the other side and see why the heck that... I must have done something and forgot. I don't know. One of those parts is private. I got that one. And then the other part is also private. I'm going to go to that one and also change it. I don't know. It must have got stuck in the private mode. How, from last night. I don't know how, but I'm going to go ahead and put that in the public. So, parts... The other 2 parts that were on here were private broadcasts. No one was listening to them at all because they were under the private side of things, which is okay. But I did put them into public, so you'll have a chance to listen to those parts. That was parts 1 and part 3 were on the private side. So I don't know why that was. So those are now public. And the other parts, like the previous one, are now all of them are now on the public side. I don't know. I accidentally must have hit a button, and the other 2 parts were not public. We were broadcasting live, but some apparent reason, I'm glad I checked that. Anyway, I got that back up now. I'm going to okay. Lovely. Alright, well, we're back here anyway. This is Way Out There on GJRB Online on Spreaker across America, and this is the final part. I'm going to, in this final part also, coming up a little later on, we'll give you the rundown of coast-to-coast guests and topics coming up this week. with George Norrie that's coming up toward the end of the show. We'll have that up. Okay? So I'm going to do that real quick and refresh that page. Okay. 1 listener so far, live. 1. And you can be part of the show by calling in on the GJRB direct line to me. If you follow me on Facebook and happen to be on Messenger, you can call me there. Or on Skype at Gary.Russin. If you remember your childhood years seeing Santa Claus. And ever look up at the sky, even as an adult, and seeing and maybe thinking you're going to see something on Christmas Eve? Those two questions are something we can put on there. So we hope that maybe we get a response from that one. And your response too. And it's Gary J. It's Gary.Russin here on GJRB for way out there. Right here on Spreaker Online. Here on GJRB. And I'll give you the program schedule coming up, but in Linda Moultonhouse Earth Files, I think I pretty much kind of exhausted that. She didn't have much on her files for a while, except for a few of those on those stories about the mysteries booms. But this comes out December 14th. NASA's confirming that, and I was going to do this story earlier. They're saying there are 8 planets in another solar system similar to ours. They've been found orbiting a distant star called Kepler 90. I've heard this story before. A newly discovered 8th planet in the Kepler 90 system is dubbed Kepler 90I. It's a sizzling hot rocky planet that orbits the star once every 14 days. This 8th planet was found using machine learning from the Google machine learning as an approach to an artificial intelligence in which computers learn. In this case, computers learn to identify planets by finding a Kepler data instances where the telescope recording signals from planets beyond our solar systems found as exoplanets. NASA's Kepler Space Telescope looks for some planets transiting distant stars image in artist conception. And I don't know. The story kind of reaches on beyond the fact that maybe there's another solar system out there, and maybe another planet that supports life like we do. That's always been a story that they've always tried to pop up. And did I pronounce this one? It's OUMUA MUA Amora. It's an interstellar space probe. According to this report, this space probe is about a half-mile long, 800 meters, 262 feet wide, has no icy tail like comets are. Who organized a Green Bank telescope in this is in West Virginia, to tune in on this thing. Wednesday, December 13th, which was just about a couple days ago, to see if any faint radio frequencies could be detected. So they're looking for some fast radio burst about 2.5 billion light years from Earth. Could this be alien intelligence? I have to wonder about that one. Could this actually be alien intelligence? Alrighty. Let's go further down the line here, see if there's any other interesting stories that we can capture on this. Let's see. More loud booms in Mexico now. In, is it really Chihuahua, Mexico? Police investigated mysterious booms there in the town last month. Also, some of the booms have been sightings of weird flashes. Again, the flashes of light, but no clouds or rain. Again, this has been is now showing up in Mexico. Now, remember on our last show we did a story on that very thing. Flashes of light, loud boom. No clouds in sight, no thunderstorm in sight. This happened in Australia and also in North Carolina. And now it was in Mexico, reported December 5th, and police are investigating it. Chihuahua, Mexico. So there must be a town in Mexico named after the dome. Chihuahua, Mexico. Early in the morning of December 17th, the police department there and the firemen responded to residents reporting a loud explosive booming noise in the north side of the city. The investigators themselves heard the explosions and the sound and explored a plaza there, Villarta and Zaragoza Industries in the Chihuahua cement plant there, but could not find the source of those loud booms. So now Mexico had that experience with those loud booms and the flash of light, no clouds. Just like in Australia and North Carolina. Interesting. Wonder what that is. I'm going to be keeping my ears wide. Well, I think even if I wasn't paying attention and I heard a loud boom and a flash of light, I'd be wondering where that came from myself. Just interesting how this loud booms are being heard now in Mexico. So I'm going to be tracking that to see where it hits next. Interesting. Wonder where that's coming from, actually. I mean, they're saying that these booms, they try to explain it away, but so far they haven't been no evidence to explain it away. Now, in Mexico, where else could it be now? And the fires in California, and I said earlier, they're explaining it away, but the fires in California, they're saying is derived from, you guessed it, global warming. They're blaming global warming on the fires in California, and I cut that video short at the beginning of the show because I ran out of time. I was headed into the weather on the fives, so I'm going to kind of see if I can go back over there and pull that back up, because this is again an interesting story. In California, they're saying that the wildfires there contribute to global warming, and they're trying to explain that. I don't know, you're going to try to explain that. But they're saying that global warming is the fault of the wildfires in California. They're saying it's the fault of it, and I have to wonder exactly how that could be. The people say the climate change is to blame for the wildfires raging in Southern California. Could they be right on this?
Attributing a single extreme event like the California wildfires this month is one of the most challenging areas of climate change research. And this is for a number of reasons. Perhaps most importantly, weather and climate are different. So we can say that these extreme fires were fueled by Santa Ana winds, La Nina, exceptionally high temperatures, and way below average rainfall. But pinpointing how much of those individual conditions were influenced by climate change takes a ton of time and research. This makes communicating climate change during major events like this remarkably difficult. Now, what we can say is that these fires happened in a climate that is different than the 1980s. We've seen a significant increase in wildfires in the West in the last 30 years, and temperatures are warmer, helping to dry out the vegetation and providing more fuel for these fires. And research shows that the ridging of the jet stream over the West is likely happening more often, much like it is now, keeping temperatures high and keeping rain out of California. But the exact value of change, the percentage, better or worse, these fires are as a result of climate change, will still have to be determined through years of research.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I don't know. I just, it takes a lot of extensive researchers to say, well, the fires are caused by global warming. And I just Snarky Ozzy Jarvis joined. How you doing? You should asking how far out there I am. Yeah, sometimes I wonder about that. Sometimes I can be way out there, and yeah, never mind. Anyway, you missed a story we did a while back. We were talking about Santa Claus and the legends of Santa Claus, and we were talking about his evil twin Krampus. And I did talk about Grimm about an hour ago. I was talking about Grimm about an hour ago. Remember an episode of Grimm where they had Krampus and they had that weird story, that weird episode, which the naughty kids were put upside down in a bag. And that episode, I played a clip of that. That was a weird episode. You remember the episode? It was an episode of Grimm 2 years ago, I think, 2 Christmases ago. And we're talking about that in a movie that was called Krampus, which pretty darn scary. Wow, I mean, I just. That was, and in the episode I talked about of Tales from the Dark Side, which was an incredible TV series. It was an episode, a Christmas episode of Tales from the Dark Side, and when I was I think I was still living at home yet when that was on. It was in the 80s, so it was an older series. And he did a story like that about an evil alternate of Santa Claus. That's what we were talking about today. So this is our Christmas show, so it kind of was into the topic of that. And so I thought I'd kind of pull that along. It was kind of fun to talk about that. As we wrap up way out there for today here on GJRB Online, staying here till like about maybe 5:15 and around there yet. Just finishing up the show. Thought we'd just kind of talk about this, and got a lot of other stuff coming up. By the way, my wife might be joining me on a show sometime in the Christmas time. I'm going to play Christmas music and talk about the first Christmas. And we're going to talk about other things, and I like to get the input on there. What do you think? What's your earliest memory? Do you ever swear ever seeing Santa Claus? Putting gifts under the tree, or actually even eating the cookies and milk that you left it. What do you think about that one? You ever swear you saw Santa Claus as a kid? All right, we've got it. I'm Gary J. Russin. No, never saw Santa. Okay. My sister claims she did. When we were kids, she said she swears she saw Santa Claus. But I did catch my mom. Okay. That's interesting. Dressed in a Santa suit, or just, yeah. Okay. I like that. Smiley face. I like the smiley face. Thank you for that. I like that. Thank you for listening. The Gary Wrestling Program on GJRB Online. Coming up, we're going to wrap up the show by giving you the lineup of the guests and the topics coming up on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie, heard on many fine radio stations across America on the premier radio networks. Your affiliate actually set a trap. Okay. Did the trap work, or did you just end up disappointed? Anyway, many fine stations across America doing Coast to Coast AM. Oh yeah. Don't forget to post an FB, okay? All right. I'll do that. Usually what I always do now, I don't know if you've noticed that, before I go on the air, I kind of post with my logo. It's not a logo. It's just what I did was I took a picture and put it up like that. I don't really have like I said, I'm working on a logo. I just haven't finished it yet. My wife is trying to draw one. Well, she can color, so I'm going to try to see what I can do about redoing it. Because I have a real nice logo I was drawing up for my station, so I'm working on that right now. Haven't finished it yet. I have an idea how I want to work this out. It's just simple. Putting the G into the J, into the R, and then making a B out of it somehow, backwards, and then looping it with the online underneath, something like that. Anyway, I'm going to work on that. Yeah, I post all the time. I try to post as much as possible. As a matter of fact, I even have a Pinterest page, and I put it on there too as well. Pinterest and Google Plus, and trying to see if I could get this slammed on Instagram, but I don't know if they even take a show. Trying other places as well as just this one. Because I think that I could get more results if I were to get it posted all over the place. Because the other day, another guy came on here. His name was, and I can't remember, it was AKCOG. ACOG. I don't know. Anyway, he liked my cart deck that I use as a picture sometimes. That's a cart deck from a radio station. And that was back in the days when radio stations had cartridge tape. Those were all the commercials were on them. I love those things because you go around and it recues itself. And I've always wanted a cartridge deck. I always wanted one of those. Ever since I saw the radio window at KQV, a top 40 station at Pittsburgh at the time, first saw those, I said, no, those are 8-tracks. No, those are cartridges. They look like 8-tracks, but they're not 8-tracks. They're, they don't have that little wheel on the front of it. It's a cartridge. It's cartridges that look like it, and they have all the commercials and promos on them. And those were the days. It's like I said, cartridges and turntables. That was when I started. And I miss doing radio like that sometimes. But I just don't have the room for those in this area. I got like about a cubicle, so don't have room to put that kind of stuff up unless I had a big studio. But because I'm looking for a reel-to-reel too. So anyway, it's getting dark out here in Clinton, Iowa. Getting dark early. It always does. Depressing part of the day when it starts getting dark and it's cold out this way. We had temperatures today only in the mid-30s. 34 was the last check on the temperature. And we had a dusting of snow the other night. But, and then it started to snow earlier today. We had flurries. About close to the time we went on the air. But right now, not bad. Yeah, I post my show all the time. I try to get all the sites. Matter of fact, I'm going to take this show, and I was trying to get it over on the Pinterest page. So what I do is I'll go in there and get all my parts, and then I'll go there. Because I have a GJRB online internet radio on Pinterest. And that's like all kinds of neat pictures and stuff. As a matter of fact, I'm going to post some pictures of Krampus on my Pinterest page because so there's some pictures there, and I'm going to put a few up there through Christmas, and then probably take them down. I usually go onto my Pinterest page to post pictures of things I talk about on the radio. There's a couple of things I got to post some pictures of. So people who follow me on Pinterest right now, anybody who's like following me will see some of these. Let's see. I post that picture of that story I told you earlier at the beginning of the show about that foot that I found. That picture, they said they found a foot that came up in Newfoundland. I think it was Newfoundland. Where was that now? Anyway, and then that other story about those ice balls that landed in the Gulf of Finland in Russia. And a few other really good stories. So I'll take some of those pictures. I'll put some of those pictures over there so that you can look at those. So the Pinterest page basically is for people who are listening to the show and would like to see some of the pictures of some of the stuff I've talked about. I will post those there. The other one was this guy who apparently found supposedly a head of Bigfoot. He claims it's the head of a Bigfoot. He has other parts of it as well. And he claims that it's actually a head from the monster, the Bigfoot. And I'll post that video on my Pinterest page later on as well, so that you get to see that. But coming up, of course, you know, a lot of people who subscribe to the GJRB TV YouTube channel will get to see the Gary Russin program video show in January, and we'll play you some of those videos. That one on the that one on the. Now, see, I always lose my train of thought. On the Bigfoot head, I'm going to play that video. It's pretty bizarre. And a few other things. So that's the Gary Russin video show on the GJRB TV YouTube channel. Subscribe today, and you can see the video side of this program, a video version, which is only about maybe a couple hours. And basically what I do is just show videos and various things that I talked about on the radio so that you could see what I was talking about. So it's kind of a video version of that, and trying to see if I can I might even do this too. I'm going to try to make an attempt to do a live video feed while we're on the air, and I'll do it on my Facebook, which I've thought about doing as well. Simultaneous video while we're on live on the radio, just to show you exactly what we've got here, how the small little area I'm in. Just my feet. Sometimes what happens is, if I have lack of space in my leg, will get numb. I've had Charlie horses, pretty nasty ones, just sitting here. So I don't know. I got to work on that part too. It's just I get them once in a while, and it hurts sometimes. It'll scare me. Well, I was just like, I got to move my leg out this way so that I have space for my foot, because my foot will get numb sitting there like that. It will turn the other way. It'll hurt. It'll go up my thigh. It'll go up my side even. Oh, it's nasty once in a while. Anyway, it's got about 10 minutes and 58 seconds left of this segment, so I'm going to go ahead and do a real quickie here. Might even just add a conclusion to this show. I'm going to add a conclusion, so I'm going to probably, because I kind of out-talk myself here, I'm going to go to my Coast to Coast site, George Norrie, and do that. I'm going to do the guest lineup and the topics for Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to get into that Coast to Coast site. Let's see, I always do it this way to make it, okay, here we are. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. So if we, I'm going to do this in 10 minutes, and then I'm going to do one extra part before we close out, because I just saw a video. Oh, I'm going to do that maybe I'll do that another time. Let's think of Coast to Coast of what's coming up on Coast to Coast this week. Brought to you by Premier Radio Networks, the 5 people who bring you Coast to Coast AM across America on many fine radio stations like WOC Davenport, Iowa, AM 1420. And down in Florida, and our friends down in Tampa can listen to Coast on WFLA, AM 970, and on FM, I think at 92.9, something like that. Anyway, let's hear it. Coast to Coast AM, starting tonight, open lines, but we open up with strange origins of brand names. Oh, that'd be a good one. Guest Matt McNabb will join Dave Schrader tonight to discuss the rumors and urban legends of dark history of famous brands, exploring the history of the cocaine content in Coca-Cola. You know, Coca-Cola, when it started, had cocaine in it. You know that? Well, I guess that's where they came up with Coca-Cola. The Hitler-Henry Ford connection, and why Bayer is famous for aspirin, but began their journey with heroin. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, there's heroin in Bayer aspirin. When it started. Negative spirit influences is going to be Saturday night's topic. And that's going to be a good one. Spirit possession and attachment demons. Seriously academic research, according to a hypnotherapist, Dr. Terrence Palmer, will join Dave Schrader to discuss that, dealing with the negative spirit influence using various methods of tandem with research finding in quantum theory. First hour guest ghost tour guide Keith Scales shares the tales of a Crescent Hotel called America's Most Haunted. On Art Bell, Somewhere in Time goes back to March 13th, 2002 with Seth Sosik, who talked about SETI and the efforts to find ET signals. UFO Year in Review Area 51 reveal will be Sunday night. First half of 2017 has been another exciting year for UFO activity in the news. Let's see. On Alejandro Rojas, who's a UFO expert researcher, joins George Knapp to discuss UFO activity from the first 12 months and expect for next year. In the second half, in 1955, a CIA established the Closdine base operations in Nevada in a desert called Area 51. Special projects there were shrouded in mystery before flying saucers were rumored. Spy planes fueled rumors of more than half a century. An author and Area 51 veteran T.D. Barnes will sift through those fictions on Coast to Coast with George Norrie here on many fine radio stations across America. Just go on Coast to Coast AM, www.coasttocoastam.com, and just go to stations, and it'll give you the on the map where you're at, and it will tell you your affiliated stations for Coast to Coast in your area. Monday nights, Coast to Coast talks about true crime cases and Mothman and cryptozoology. That's always a good show. First half of the show will be Donna Kaufman, who writes the true crime books of Dr. Cyril Wecht. Yeah, he's a famous coroner from back in my neck of the woods in Pittsburgh. Anyway, he's a world best-known medical examiner, and she's going to update her work in both the most high-profile cases of criminals in the past decade, including O.J. Simpson, Scott Peterson, and the John Benet Ramsey case, and Amanda Knox. Donna Kaufman, she worked with Dr. Sarah Weck. Should be an interesting show there. Check that out. Tuesday, it's going to be Earth Cataclysms. Be a good show. NASA Conspiracy. First half, Professor of Biology and Environmental Studies Michael R. Rampino discusses the latest findings from a leading geoscientist and try to pronounce that one. Science behind the planetary unveils the extinction, a relationship between astronomy, ecology, and he argues the predictive of future extinction events. So, in other words, talking about a harbinger of end times, I imagine there. Mike Barra will discuss the first book on the Light Bringer, which paints the fictional scenario about the occult conspiracy inside NASA, which could bring the end of the world as we know it. A book is based on a real NASA experiment that makes the plausible scenario. Alternative Health in Angelic Realm will be on the next show, Wednesday night. George Norrie will have Joel Wallach on and Leanne Thomas. First half will be Joel Wallach, who's going to address alternative health approaches and the benefits of remedies and supplements that aid the body's recovery from many diseases and ailments. And in the second half of the show, Leanne Thomas will discuss angelic realms and her love for helping others own their own spiritual gifts. And she'll show us the many angelic connections that we have and can use, including intuition and angel communication. Interesting show. On Thursday, the Earth's Secret War. We'll take a look at those and the Thursday and Friday shows coming up because we're running low on time. It's getting about 2:55 left. And I'm going to add just a few more minutes to the show. Since we're closing out on this, I'm just going to add a conclusion to Way Out There today. Real quick one, because I want to throw in a couple more informative stuff on what's coming up on our broadcast here on GJRB. So I'm going to add a Way Out There conclusion. I'll just put ending. One of those things, Just put an ending on that. Okay, so we're going to add an ending to this show. And just go live on it right now and just finish off the other one. I'm going to close that out.